Good afternoon, guys, and welcome and to another quick tip. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of things that we've been asked here. So this time, it's for my friend Glenn. So he's asking for my settings. So let's dive right now into my streaming here and take a look at my charts. Here we go, guys. So first of all, before we get started with anything, please let me tell you that if you are just copying the settings, you are doing it wrong. Sorry for telling you that, but that is the truth. Remember that every brain is different, and also that we should be configuring our indicators based on our style. If you all don't know how to configure your indicators, please go check out my video number 1 and also video number 2 and 3 on how to configure your indicators. Don't worry, I'll point you out at the top of this video to look for those beginner videos. But nonetheless, if you're just taking a look at how to compare to what I got, maybe you saw something that makes sense and you just don't want to start like scrolling around and finding here and there, well then I'm going to be showing you my indicators here. So let's go to supercharting here and let's pick one asset. So I just finished up recording the video of Ethereum, what to do when you are in a losing trade. So if you haven't seen that, go check out that one. All the tips and tricks. So let's pick another one. Let's just do a random one in here. So I don't know, Atom? Sure, why not? So the first thing I'm going to be doing is turning everything off and then giving you kind of like a heads up on what am I doing and how am I trading it. So first of all, remember that if you are looking that I have different versions, you should be having the updated one. So I do always suggest you to update yours and use the latest versions. Nonetheless, couple of things may change in the future, but overall the same functionality, it's going to be kept around. So the first thing I'm going to be adding and showing you, it's going to be my market oracle. Bear in mind that I have a layered out system. So just so you know, guys, I'm an architect. I do work with layers, just like in Photoshop, just like in ArchiCAD and AutoCAD. So I'm very familiar with that, and that's what I started importing those ideas. So the point here is for you to not get confused, but that's going to be a video for another step. But bear in mind, I'm going to be changing up indicators because they are in different layers. So I'm going to be turning on right now my market oracle. My market oracle, it's set at signal mode, trend mode, and reversal. Then the tuning, this is highly configured for Bitcoin 4 hours. If you are, for example, in, Bitcoin 3 minutes, well, then just go watch the video on how I teach you how to set your tuning, and then it's going to be the exact same process, but the difference will be on the charts. But right now, my optimized setting or tuning, it's around 43 to 45 to something like stocks, depending on the stock, will be from 50 to 60, somewhere around those numbers in the 4-hour region. So that means that could be working for 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. Guys, nonetheless, remember, you need to configure yours based on your time frame and your style. Then, Auto Maximizer is off. Since it is off, I don't use anything that is in here. And then the candle highlights, very important. I have it on trend static, so that's because I like to see basically a harsh and very dramatic change of color. And then my optimal tuning, since I already went through the process of changing my tuning, my optimal tuning, it's off. Then I have my prime score selected and my consolidation score selected. They both are here. Dashboard sides, it's going to be right here in the middle. It says auto on the sides because auto crucially works the best for me. Then it's at the bottom middle. Why? Because I do TikTok videos also, and I like to have this vertical space to show you everything that I can in the same vertical space. So that is a personal preference, just so you get a heads up in there. For the reactor select, I like my dynamic reactor, but sometimes I use the volume flex also. By clicking both, I can add the dynamic reactor and my volume flex. So just so you know, I always go first for dynamic reactor, and if I need extra confluence, I'll go for both. And what I'm looking when I'm clicking for both is that little gap that happens between the two of those for some entry zone. Let's move into the next layer of the market oracle. Let me click OK here and look at here. What is it? Market oracle. If I turn it on and off, you'll see that looks different from the previous market oracle. Let me turn on the first one, which, by the way, guys, this is my main one. I will always be using this one and then adding layers on top of this one. So let's take a look at this configuration. As you can see, it's disabled not to interfere with the first market oracle that I have in here. So disabled, everything is turned off. I don't care about the tuning because it is disabled. And then very important, you need to get your candle highlights as Japanese default in this one. That way, you're not adding interference with your tuning, this tuning, and your optimized tuning that you set up on your first layer. Very important, guys. Very, very important. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Japanese default, so I don't add interference into this configuration. Then everything else is turned off because I already have it on the other one. And the only thing that is turned on is going to be my prime ranges and trend assistant. Very quickly on that one. On my market dynamics pro, the same thing happens here. The first one is going to be my base layer. So for me, what is the most important thing for look for? It is support and resistance after when I have found the trend. So market oracle in my configuration is giving you the trend. Then I'm finding the main support and resistances. So let's take a look at my configuration. I'm going to be clicking up in here or on in here, clicking the gear icon. And the first thing that we're going to be looking at, this one, is going to be that I do have my order blocks disabled. Not in here, I do have them on a different Market Dynamics Pro layer. And then what I do have here is going to be my wedge detection on medium. Remember, highly optimized for the 4-hour environment. Then I have the wrapped option, triangle option, and then I like to have my multi-time frame support and resistance depending on what I'm seeing on screen. It's what I'm going to be adding up, subtracting the amount of lines that I see based on what I have here. If you don't know what local, midterm, extended, or macro mode are, just go watch the multi-time frame support and resistance video. This is on our main tutorials on the main YouTube channel for Chart Prime. At this point, I'm going to be adding chart in here. Why? Because chart means whatever I have here. If I move into 30 minutes, because this is on chart, my support resistances will be plotting for 30-minute support and resistances. If I go to daily, well then, because this is on chart, it's going to be plotting on daily support and resistances. Then, how many lines do I want on local mode? I want 6 of them. In my color range, it's going to be green and red. So all of the greens and all of the reds are the local charts, which again, look at that, 240 minutes, that's equals 4 hours. And it's green, 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 red, red. All of those 6 are from the local mode on chart. As you can see, if I turn this one down, these ones are gonna start moving. There you go. So how do I like that? I go from 3 to 5. In this case, I added 1 more because I was looking for extra confluence. But I usually stay between 3 and 5. So as you can see, that repeats over and over. The next one, I have it on disable, but I usually go for extended or midterm. And the next one, it's local mode, but at daily. And again, 5 of those. So far, so good. At this point, I did recommend using the predictive ranges, but I'm not going to be adding them in here. Why? Because there's going to be too many lines. So far, this is everything that I have as the basics for my market dynamics. As you can see, it's looking pretty clean. And when I started charting or analyzing the 4-hour, you can see that this is looking fantastic. It's very clean. I can very much see where are my channels of entry, where do I have that confluence for big supports and big resistances, and also I'm adding beautiful patterns that I'll be looking for. Remember, when I go back down here, I'll also be referring not only for support, but for also dynamic reactor and some other oscillator. So let me clear this up and let's move into my oscillator. The first one I'm going to be looking at is going to be my prime oscillator. Let me turn that one on and make it big in here so we can see it. Then this one's going to be minimized. We're going to be looking at that one afterwards. And this is how it looks. Let me show you that at this point, I'm going to go for the settings. The first thing I'm going to be looking at, it is my prime oscillator. Then divergences, beautiful, they're playing out in here. But these divergences, remember, are trend fusion settings. There we go. So for those divergences to appear, you need to be on your trend fusion. To not get confusing here, your divergences on your prime oscillator are controlled down here. So bands on. Those bands are this green and red. All right. Break points, I don't use them that much, so I'd have them off. Divergences. Now you see how we have two divergences? Because look at that, trend fusion settings and then prime oscillator settings. So I do want divergences from my prime oscillator settings. I never change the settings. I leave them as they are, 35 and 2. That's how it comes from default. Then hidden divergences. The only thing that I do is turn the opacity down. And then again, hit bearish divergences. I turn the opacity down. I keep my triple on multiple divergence turned on in here. So that is how I have it configured, as green for bullish divergences and as red for bearish divergences. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Already having to take action on Ethereum. We'll take a look at that afterward. Then, what is next? On the main settings, that is it. I'm not going to be changing anything. These alarms, there was an example, so you don't need to have them. In fact, I'm going to be turning them off. Then on style, very important. Scrolling all the way down, or almost all the way down here, I'm going to have my zero line as white, complete opacity. Next line in here, make sure that it's a line, and I have it on 0. Bullish control line, the only thing that I'm going to be doing, it's setting the green. I can even change it to this one. Again, full opacity. I'll leave it as is and also leave that as dashed. One thing that I figure out that I have turned off, but I always do, is click here and do -95 for the bullish control line. And then for the bearish control line, again, red, full opacity, minimal thickness, dashed line in here, and positive 95 in here. As you can see, they appear in here, and that is giving me the channel of overbought and oversold zones, all right? And that will be basically it on what am I going to be doing on my Prime Oscillator Pro in here. Then remember to save your charts so it gets recorded, and then you can start working on top of those. As extra settings, let's take a look at my extra settings in here. Those extra settings I'm going to be adding for the next layer on my Market Dynamics Pro. I'm going to click those gear icon, go to input, and as you can see, I do have now my order blocks on medium, and I am using breaker blocks. At this point, I also have my predictive ranges turned on, and these ones, they are for default. Never change them. Well, I never change them. You can change them if you want. The trend lines, right now it's at disable, but I usually like to have it on medium. Again, I'll add it in a different layer. So far on this one, I have it on disable. In my premium and discount zones, also at 50, swing level number 1. That is it. Let me turn it on so you can see how it looks. And again, couple of lines in there. As you can see, as long as I have my main indicator on, and then I turn off one layer and turn on the other, everything is gonna be looking nice and neat. So as you can see right now, we are on big support on that equilibrium zone with that medium order block, and then we could be looking for that either flip of the ribbon or flip of the ribbon for either a breakthrough to that dynamic reactor or the second bounce for a bounce out of that zone. This is not a complete analysis. This is only to show you what am I looking at this section. Quick heads up, guys. The new version that I have not yet updated on this one, my order blocks are gonna be gray. So it's exactly the same, just the order blocks change color here, and in the new one are gray. So that is the only change that I have for you guys. So far, those are the settings that I use for my day-on-day trading. Remember, guys, if you are just blindly copying the settings, you are doing it wrong. Go ahead and go watch the video where I show you how to optimize the settings for what you trade, and also how to get the most out of the indicators. Because once you pair in with what you're looking at, how your brain works, this is gonna be a game changer. Guys, thank you very much for visiting me and asking me questions. I'll try to do as many quick videos as I can. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and see you on the next short video.